Hello and welcome to A FAB Journey. Hi, I'm Paul. I'm the guy behind a FAB Journey, or the guy who's on a FAB Journey at the moment. So, what's with all the different formats? Yes, I thought that I'd talk about that because there is an awful lot of formats. Look, I came across Flesh and Blood at the Auckland Card Show, and if you read my opening post, you'll understand that I saw the Flesh and Blood stand. I gave the Learn to Play a go. They gave me a Learn to Play deck, IRA deck. They also asked you, gave a chat about what Flesh and Blood was. You answered a couple of questions. They put a stamp in your book, and they gave you a Blitz deck that actually I've still not opened or used. At that point, I thought we had everything we needed to play. And we got it all for free. I was thinking, hey, this is a game we can play for free that I can spend quality time with one of my daughters doing. Look, I used to be a Magic player back in the day, like 30 odd years ago back in the day. Yes, I am that old. And then thought, yeah, it's actually something I would enjoy doing as well, and good to do. So hence, I very quickly obviously understood that I was wrong, very wrong about that. But I mean, I understood at the time that the Learn to Play was a stripped back version of the game, but I thought that with the Blitz deck, I had everything I actually needed to play. Now, I've been at Armageddon recently, where I did play the Blitz Free Play Armageddon Monday. There you go. Little sort of got a casual tournament, as it were, with a bunch of people who had just played the Learn to Play and hadn't. That's how they learnt it. When we talked about stuff and we've veered off into things like Living Legend or Adult Heroes, you can see them getting confused very quickly. Look, there are 15 formats listed on the FAB website. I think that's very confusing for someone who is new into the game to understand actually what is this game, how does it play, what format is it, how many cards do I have, etc. So I don't think so. I think look, it should be simplified, and I'm going to run through those 15 formats and tell you what I think each one's for and whether it actually needs to exist. Now, you probably, if you have played FAB for a few months, you're probably going to know all this intuitively. But I think it's actually good to actually get it written down or out of sort of or recorded in this kind of sense. Because look, I do write these pieces. So if you want to read rather than listen or watch, you can head over to A FAB Journey on Substack, and you can read the posts there. Obviously, you can watch the videos there as well, or you can watch them on YouTube, and you can listen to the posts or the shows as on your favorite podcast player. Just search for A FAB Journey. Please do like, share, subscribe, or tell your friends about it, so that we can get more people listening. That'd be really kind of cool. So here's my thoughts on each of the formats and what their niche is. First off, you've got Learn to Play. Now, this one's pretty simple, isn't it? It's how most people will stumble across Flesh and Blood at conventions and give it a go, and also your local game store can also run Learn to Plays as well. So clearly, that's got a niche in being the very stripped down game to give a quick taster to a new person. So it introduces people to the game. You then got Classic Constructed, or CC, and look, for most players, Classic Constructed is Flesh and Blood, right? It is the most commonly played format. It's also the main competition format, I would suggest, as well. So as far as Classic Constructed, what's its niche? Its niche is the main format that people play and the main competition format as well. You then got Living Legend, or LL. Now, Living Legend for me is kind of Classic Constructed on steroids. It's for experienced players looking to take the battle to the next level, sort of play the game on insane mode. I was a bit surprised when I looked on the FAB website that this is not listed as a constructed format, but has been moved now under special formats. Also today, as I speak, probably yesterday as this gets published, FAB came out and apologised that they'd admitted that they've not set up Living Legend properly in the time frame for Worlds in Philadelphia, as it's going to be part of Worlds, and they had to do another banned and restricted announcement with the two cards, one being banned, one being restricted for that. Because so it'll be interesting to see how this format goes forward, because LSS have said that this format needs a wholesale review. I expect that to happen. Its niche, though, is basically it's the hardest format of FAB, and it's only really for veteran players or experts, I would say. It's not for your casual player, and it's definitely not for your beginner from that point of view. We've then got Blitz, which clearly has had lots of announcements recently, which is kind of one of the reasons I've been thinking about formats, really, to be honest with you. Is this a cheap way for people to get into the game? Is it a competitive format for tournaments? Is it a quick, fun way to play the game? Look, it's not a cheap way to enter the game, because you come across a tuned deck that's expensive and you're just going to lose very quickly. I mean, look, some tuned decks can do enough damage in one turn to finish a game when there's only 20 health. Also, if a game is only 1 or 2 turns long, it's not really that fun either for competitive play. So I'll be honest, the only time I've played Blitz was at a skirmish tournament, which shows it's not been embraced by the community. It's not what the community generally will play by choice. The only reason it was for the skirmish was because that's what LSS had said was one of the formats you could play in that skirmish, and obviously they put out some prizes for that. So what's its niche? Well, look, it tried to be everything to everyone and failed at being anything to anyone, I think. The only reason it hasn't been totally killed is that people have spent a lot of money buying Blitz decks and setting Blitz decks up. So LSS can't just totally kill it, because if they do, they'll upset a bunch of people. So basically, Blitz has been left to quietly die, right? Or to die quietly. And I don't think we're going to see much of it going forwards. Next up, we've got Ultimate Fight Pit, or UFP. If you want to play a game as a group rather than everyone splitting off into their individual pairs, then you need a multiplayer format. And that's what UFP is. It's a fun, casual way to play the game, which is difficult for FAB, which is a deliberately competitive game, to have a sort of fun, casual format. But that's what this kind of is. I've yet to play this one, but I do know a group that play this one relatively regularly, and they're going to be using this format for their Christmas party. That's exactly where this fits in. So the niche for UFP or UPF, sorry, is fun group play. It has its place, and that's good. Next up, Commoner. Look, Commoner is a format I've heard lots of people talk about, but I've never heard anyone actually playing it. I think it's supposed to challenge people creatively to sort of play without powerful cards. However, I think it's just too restrictive. There's too little cards, and people just miss their fun cards too much. So the niche for Commoner, I don't think it has one. I think it's too restricted on the cards that you can play, and so it just doesn't get paid. This is one that we can sort of get rid of, I think. Now, the next format you may never have heard of. It's called Shapeshifter. I had never heard of it until I actually went and looked at the format's webpage, doing a bit of research for this. So the format webpage on the FAB website. I've never heard of anyone talking about it, never mind playing it. So look, this is an obscure format for extreme FAB nerds. Let's be honest, if it isn't dead already, I basically just never played. So maybe this is one they can get rid of, or it just can sit there just purely for people who want to sort of nerd out, which is fine, nothing wrong with that. But it's not something people are going to play very often. So real veteran players, definitely for that one. Team Constructed. And the only time I've ever heard about this one was for I think it was a Calling in Europe, was it, or Battle Hardened in Europe, one of those two. It's where you get a team of 3 players who play 3 different heroes and play separately. So it feels a little bit forced, let's be honest. It's not really team play because you're not playing together. You can't defend each other, you can't attack for each other. So to me, this feels like LSS thought that we need a team format. Let's jam one in. It was a bit contrived, a bit forced for me. So this niche, occasional tournaments really, just so that LSS can say they've got a team format. I've actually, I was going to say I've never heard anyone playing it or using it, but actually one of the local game stores up in Auckland has actually organised a team constructed tournament, which was a bit of a surprise. You've then also got Team Limited. Now, at least with Team Limited, you get to share, you have the same card pool and you have to share the cards out between the 3 of you. So they have to make decisions. Who gets the powerful card? Who doesn't get the powerful card? Around those sort of things. So to me, this one actually doesn't feel quite as contrived and as forced as Team Constructed. But again, this is just an occasional tournament format, so LSS can say it's got a team format. To me, it's not really a format that's going to get played much. Blitz pre-constructed. Well, that's what I've just played at Armageddon. We basically we got given first strike decks, so Aurora or Terra, and look, as a way of expanding players' horizons after having learned to play. I think it works really well. And it works really well at the moment because there are about 30 pre-con blitz decks that are relatively competitive against each other. Are they competitive against a tuned deck or a put together deck? Not really, or a constructed deck, but they are against each other. So, so actually, look, it really did work there. But I can see that LSS is clearly moving away from blitz decks. They haven't actually produced one in like a year and a half, I think it is now. So this one's niche one is a sort of small tryout tournaments for new players, and it kind of works there. But let's be honest, this is going to get replaced by Silver Age pre-constructed, as long as Silver Age either way, it's going to get replaced by that. Yeah, look, it really did. It really did work as a way to expand players' horizons. We then have a set of limited formats. You've got Sealed Deck, which basically is the LSS sort of launch format. So I've played that for the launch of the pre-release of what's it called? I've gone blank now. The latest one. Anyway, I've played it once, and so that's basically something you get to play kind of 3 times a year, as there's a major release, and it works really well as a launch format. But buying sort of 8 packs, it's quite an expensive way to play the game if you're going to do it sort of on a weekly basis or a regular basis. So it works as that launch one to expose players to new cards, and it works fine. A booster draft. Look, as far as I can tell, this is mainly used at top level tournaments like your Pro Tours and your World Championships, alongside a constructed format. So it sort of provides it's a way of removing the deck construction or basically the unlimited resource construction, and to test out players in another way who are the top level players in another way. It's used in some communities, I've heard, as a way of they'll run it for like 2 or 3 weeks after a new release, just to get more cards into circulation of the new set. Yeah, this has got its place in those top level tournaments to provide a bit of to test your expert players in a kind of different kind of way. Crack Shuffle Play. I think this is a new format that we had kind of played once or via the Mastery Pack Guardian. It's also used in Smash Palace, the multiplayer product that has been released relatively recently by LSS. Kind of makes Smash Palace a bit of an expensive way. If every single time you have to play the game, you have to crack open three boosters each. But as a kind of launch thing for launch format for Mastery Pack Guardian, I liked it because as a brand new player, it really leveled the playing field. You didn't have to know how to build a deck to take part and to have a chance of winning. I made the final and came runner-up in the final. So to me, I kind of enjoyed that from that point of view. It really did level the playing field for people. Will we see it going forwards? I don't know, because let's be honest, Mastery Pack Guardian did not go down well. So will we be having Mastery Pack, I don't know, Ninja, Mastery Pack, Warrior in the future? We'll just have to wait and see about that one as to whether we see this again, to be honest. So in summary, you've got Learn to Play as an introduction to the game. You've got Classic Constructed as basically what the game is. You've got some Living Legend, Booster Draft, and Team Constructed are for sort of tournament formats, for your top-end tournaments. Sealed Deck, used for new releases. And UPF, Ultimate Pit Fight, is a fun way to play the game. The rest aren't really played, other formats aren't really played unless LSS really forces them by providing prizes. So what's that? Learn to Play, Classic Constructed, Living Legend, Booster Draft, Team Constructed, Sealed Deck, and Ultimate Pit Fight. So basically, out of the 14 formats I've mentioned so far, only 7 of them I think are really needed. The other 7 they can just get rid of. So where does that leave Silver Age or Sage as a format? Look, it's designed to be a cheap entry point into the game, rather than CC, which is a bit more expensive, always with your Majestics and Legendary and Fabled cards. It's also designed to be a tournament format that's restricted to common and rare cards. So it's an affordable way of having a tournament as well, but also challenges players a bit around more around kind of what can you do with less powerful cards. Look, LSS controls the formats that are played at tournaments, and we've already got 3. I can't remember if they're Battle Hardens or Callings before the end of the year that we will be using this format. So from a tournament side of things, it's on track. Will it be a cheaper entry rate point for players though? Look, this is going to come down to the community, because it's only going to be a cheaper entry point for players if they've got other players to play. All right. So if your local armory is going to stay week in, week out as Classic constructed, then it's not going to be an entry point. If, however, local game stores are allowed to play, say, have 2 armories a week, one that's CC and one that's Sage or Silver Age, then it could be a way. Or if once or twice a month they play Sage rather than CC, then it can be. Look, there's no talk of local game stores being allowed to run 2 armories a week. But there's lots of talk of people being interested in Sage. But I've only heard of one actually. Sorry, in my written version it says I've not heard of a Sage armory being planned. Today someone told me that they'd played Ira at a Sage armory and had won the armory. So I think it's very much in a wait and see at the moment as to whether the community will embrace Sage and whether Sage will actually be a cheap entry point for people, or if it'll be another failed format in the same way that Blitz has been. Let's hope it's not. Where we don't want it. Look, I want the game to thrive and to grow. I enjoy playing it, but I do really think it's a wait and see, and it's going to be decided by the community, not by LSS, as to whether this is successful or not. In my opinion, yes, LSS can do some things to encourage it, like say having those 2 armories a week, one that's Sage and one that's Classic constructed. But I say at the moment, we'll have to. It's in that wait and see mode. Love to hear your thoughts. So you can put some comments on the old Substack or on YouTube down below. If you listen to the podcast, head over to Substack and leave a comment there if you want to let me know about something. I'm definitely up for a chat, so please do. Enjoy playing Flesh and Blood, and I'll catch you next time.